Salute Knicks Nation. Let's talk about this game as the Knicks drop the second of a back-to-back at home to the Detroit Pistons. Man, this game was crazy, and the New York Knicks lost it late. Two back-breaking threes from Malik Beasley, man, of all people. Continue to let him open. Killed the Knicks tonight, but two blunders also contributed to the loss as the New York Knicks committed a illegal screen. Karl Anthony Towns, man, it was soft, but the refs gave it as the Knicks had a chance to go ahead in that possession as well, but they had a chance to get a stop as well after that, but couldn't get it done, man. And obviously before that, it was the unlucky tipped play. It was a scramble. Brunson, misplaced pass. Thompson in the passing lane, off his fingers, and then it skimmed Cat's fingers as well, went out of bounds, and the New York Knicks, man, lose a heartbreaker on this one, go 26-15 as they lose, man, 124 to 119 in this one now. It's been back-to-back losses to Detroit at MSG after defeating Detroit earlier in the season in November in Detroit as well now. The Knicks will have to win the final game, right, to level the season series against Detroit, where Cade Cunningham, Malik Beasley, Isaiah Stewart were celebrating and dancing, man. And if that doesn't fire these Knicks up, nothing will, right? We got some good contributions from Bridges on the offensive side. He showed some grit and got some stops late, but it was just boneheaded plays early in this ball game as well. We let the Pistons hang around, and the New York Knicks defensively have got a lot of work to do. Fam, salute to buzzer beater Paula and the chat popping through. Knicks diehards, smash that like button. We're going to vent tonight and talk about it, where the Knicks sit, right? Are we the fakest third seed right now? You know, we're in third seed. Some teams on our hammer in the fourth seed right now, trying to build that momentum, trying to establish an identity right now. Defensively, it ain't it, man. You know, to beat good teams, and, you know, Detroit are inching closer to becoming a good team. They are above 500 now. We have to be better on both sides, you know. Bad matchup again, guys, against, Wings. It's been the story all season against, the Rockets, the Grizzlies, those teams, Dallas Mavericks, Atlanta Hawks of the world. Detroit's coming, they got Cade. They had Thompson running amok as well, Fontecchio, Hardaway, and of course they had Tobias Harris and Malik Beasley, fam. The Wings, and our Wings just are not getting it done. Unfortunately, Brunson did go a little bit hero ball, but so did a lot of Knicks tonight, fam. It hurt us. Cameron Payne had an amazing second quarter, but he fell in love with the heat check, right? And he should have let that go, fam. He was hot in the second quarter, and then he just wasn't hot no more, and, he kept firing ill-advised shots as well. Cat battled, through the thumb injury as well. He showed fortitude, but a lot of follies late in this one, fam. The Knicks played quite heady in terms of attacking the player that was in foul trouble on the Detroit Pistons, but also they showed a lack of IQ on the defensive side, fam, leaving the hottest shooter wide open twice, fam. And yeah, I think it comes down to, there's two elements to the Knicks defense, man, which we're going to chop up. I'm nuanced as well. I'm not just going to come on here and lose my head, but the Knicks have to get better defensively. And where I see they're going wrong is that they're just not playing smart, man. If you are going to give up an open three, okay, you give up an open three. But don't help off of a guy who's cold, right? Help off of a guy who's hot to close out on a guy who's cold. Man, I'm talking about Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris. We could talk about lack of toughness. Miguel, salute to you. Michael Drake, J.I. in the building. And Jimmy as well. Salute, guys. Hope you're well. Many blessings. And I think the Knicks, obviously we're at the halfway point now. 41 games in the books now. We've got a lot of sample we can go off now. And a lot of the things that the Knicks got to correct. Salute, Troy. I think defensively, there's two things. Personnel, we're limited. You can only play and defend as well as your personnel can do. But also, we're not playing smart, closing out on these open shooters, leaving other guys wide open, right? The zone tonight, Detroit did play with our heads a little bit with that zone. I thought we did okay trying to get out of that funk. Cat busted a couple of threes open, and that kind of busted the zone up. But with this one, man, defensively, it just came down to we just couldn't get stops late, and then those follies really killed us to do, you know. So what's up, David Haas? I'm not making excuses. Let's hear it. What are your thoughts on this one? The Knicks just aren't good enough defensively right now, and they struggle against some of these wings. Obviously, second night of a back-to-back, that does have to factor in somewhat, but still the Knicks should be and have to be good enough to beat Detroit, who are in the 8th seed right now. Pistons moved to 21-19, and the New York Knicks will move to 26-15 on the season. Still got plenty of daylight between 3rd and 4th right now, but once Paolo starts to get in a rhythm, are the Magic going to keep coming? That's the story right now. But, you know, I was kind of bracing myself because we knew that the Knicks had a soft schedule in December, right? And we know that this schedule that you see on screen in January was going to be tougher. And I think we're off to a slow start for the new year, you know. Obviously, bouncing back against Milwaukee last night was key. That was a big win. We needed that one. But tonight, we needed to back it up. We needed to back it up, you know. Defensively, what can we do? You know, we can add a couple of pieces. I don't think they're going to be... I don't think we have the assets to get an all-world defender and an all-NBA kind of defender. I think guys got to play more smart. The schemes that Tibbs ensues, I think it lies at the top. These aren't scrubs on our team. They can play. They can defend. I think schemes limit us at the moment, leaving shooters wide open. You know, drop coverage all day, every day, fam. Leaving Cade Cunningham, guys, open lane, Matador D, man, right now. And we have to change that up, you know. I don't know how much Mitchell Robinson is going to help because obviously he's a better drop center, but I think right now it starts on the perimeter, and I think we did show some fortitude late. We got a few stops, but just not enough, you know. And then we were scrambling once again, but the story of Cat, he is prone to give up those blunders, fam. That was 2. Now, the tip was a bit unlucky. He was reaching for the ball and it just scraped his fingertips. But the other one, man, the moving screen, that was soft. The referees were bad tonight as well. Not using that as an excuse, but yeah, we all saw it, fam, with Tobias Harris getting away with some WWE moves, some forearm shoves, and, they were getting away with that, fam. But yeah, Cade Cunningham's playing at an all-star level, all-NBA, potentially as well. If you're a Pistons fan listening, obviously you don't need any validation. They're an improved team this year. That's going to happen, when you tank year after year after year and you stack lottery talent, just like the Mavericks, the Magic, just like the Rockets, right? I mean, you can tank for 10 years, you're eventually going to get good, right? You're eventually going to get good. But the Knicks have things to figure out. David says, rough loss, CT. Do you think we need a shake-up of the roster? And I wouldn't say shake-up. Obviously, we know one piece can really give a team a jolt, a necessary jolt. And it could be a number of things, fam. It could be a buyout guy. It could be a Mitchell Robinson getting healthy. Those things can factor in. But I'm a little worried about how willing is Tibbs, to switch things up and play a real 5 next to Cat. We saw Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren. What are your thoughts on that, fam? Another team with some bigs. Are you convinced now? Do you think Karl Anthony Towns should be the 5 long term? Give us your opinion in the chat. Do you think we need a 5 to play next to Cat as well? One decision I didn't like in the third quarter, he played Brunson the entire third quarter, and he didn't play Deuce McBride very much. He didn't play Cameron Payne, and those guys got cold. I thought those guys gave us a lot of energy, fam, in that second quarter. The Knicks clawed their way back, right? The Knicks clawed their way back in that second quarter. Cameron Payne, Deuce McBride gave us some energy as well. J.I. says Tibbs will never shake up anything. Paula says Tibbs taken Bridges out when he was the only one scoring. I think he needed a breather. I think he needed a break on that one. David thinks Tibbs will be gone by All-Star break. I don't see it. I think Tibbs will get the year. I'll be open for a change, but I don't think it's going to happen mid-season. I just don't think these guys are going to quit, on where it is. Our season, our series, our ceiling could be limited, in terms of, the decisions he's making and Leon Rose and the faith. Lou Bang, salute, welcome back. This team is frustrating, and the refs don't give our stars no calls. I think we do probably get the poorest whistle on our home floor right now. But the problem is with MSG, and I always say this, fam, with EJ, our fam, EJ's doing well. Hopefully we see EJ soon. But we always say, man, it's a blessing and a curse to play at MSG, because even the scrubs of the scrubs get up. Even the best players get elevated to the next level when they play against us at MSG. Guys, and we do have a target on our backs, heading into this season. Teams know we're the third seed. They fancy their chances to knock us off, and they play more physical. They can do that. We're more of a finesse team right now. We lost Mitch, we lost Isaiah, we lost Randall, we lost some other grit, DiVincenzo. Those players showed some grit, and we got to show more grit. And I do think getting more size at the 5 is a good start. I'm not going to say it's the solution. Ultimately our ceiling might be higher with Cat at the 5, and maybe we need to tinker, some of the perimeter players, and get better on that side, maybe. But I would start with just giving us some more size, deter some of these drives. Because look, even if Mitchell Robinson ain't the most mobile, the fact that he eats up so much space in that block, and he's going to deter anyone from coming in there right now. And you guys know, you're smart. You listen to other fan bases. They kind of tell you what they see. They kind of tell us what Knicks team they see, and a lot of them are saying, it's a cakewalk. It's a layup line. Heading to the cup. These guys, they got to buckle down on the perimeter. Buzzer Beater says Detroit ain't a bad team. They were a 500 team before tonight. Yeah, they're getting better, but it doesn't discount or excuse losing to them twice. That's the problem, fam. We're not learning our lessons. We're losing the same way. And I think these guys are trying. I'm not saying they're not trying. Maybe they are just limited defensively. This team's ceiling defensively ain't as good as some people think it might have been. I think that's the truth that we need to say right now. We are 41 games into the season, right? Right. There's only so many get right games, right? We're playing good teams. This is the NBA. These guys are high lottery pick wings, all defensive kind of guys, and they can defend, man. They can defend. It's a bad matchup for us. It's a bad matchup, If we played the Hawks again tonight, we may have lost against them. It's just the type of matchup. Last night, credit to the Knicks, we gave them their flowers. The Bucks we're a bad matchup for the Bucks. I guess for us to go further in the playoffs, I couldn't be more adamant that the matchup is going to factor in the most, fam. Whatever seed we finish at, the first round matchup, whoever we get, could make or break the kind of run that we can get on. If we get a favorable matchup, we might catch lightning in a bottle. If we get a poor matchup in the first round, we might be out in straight sets, man. Yeah, Paula says tanking didn't work out for the Sixers, though. That's it. The thing is, by law of averages, it's not going to work out for everyone, You could have 10 teams all tank, and maybe a few might come out of the other side. J.I. says Bridges was lighting it up, and Tibbs takes him out. Shaking my head. It was good to see Bridges really catch fire, and break the shackles. Fortunately, yeah, we just couldn't get it done, and he did help us get a few stops. So I think defensively as a team, as a collective, we just weren't good enough early in the first half, everyone's going to look at these last few plays, guys, but remember, we were up like 5, and then we gave up a big lead. We went back down 9, then we got up again, and then we let them get up like 12 earlier in the ball game as well. I mean, that's just not, we're seeing a lot of inconsistencies, right now, and I kind of think we're right about where we are, third, fourth, even if the Magic pass us. I kind of think we'll be around third, fourth, fifth, possibly worst case scenario. And like I said, it's going to come down to playoff matchups, fam. On the thought of the five, Michael Drake says, Mitch, Rob, we need him, and Moses Brown, Huck Porty. I like that, Michael. I think that's a start, I'm not pinging all my hopes on Mitch, but I do think we've got some guys that we need to try, and we've got some news coming in on that front as well. Reporting Steph Bondi, fam. Jericho Sims, as has been out there, is being shopped by the New York Knicks ahead of next month's trade deadline, according to multiple sources. However, this injury today, absence with back spasms, had nothing to do with that. So, ultimately we're going to find out. It's also unclear what the Knicks can retrieve for Jericho Sims in a deal, but a source told New York Post that a second-round pick was one asked. His late scratch today, it had nothing to do with the current trade discussions going on. So we do know something. We do know Leon Rose is, he's taking calls. So that's good news for me. I'm happy about that. That's good news, We might need a little shake-up. Let's be real. Like David says, we need a real dog. David says OG for Zion. I mean, Zion's effort is questionable at best. The talent is there, but yeah, his effort is questionable right now. He's getting disciplined. AP says Tom Tibbs is going to end up getting Leon fired. I think Leon will man up and pull the trigger if he needs to before, the blowtorch heads on him. But yeah, on David's point about a real dog, I think we have to find a guy. I did like Marcus Smart. I did like that. That sort of rumor. Heading before the season, I think he would add, toughness, experience on the perimeter as well. But Memphis are doing so well, so that could be tough to get. We need more size on the wing. Dadier, someone can come in. Would have liked us to get Dorian Finney-Smith, but we missed out on him as well. Troy says if the Knicks can get a healthy Jared Vanderbilt, that would make a big difference. I think all things are on the table. I think he would be a nice, addition. One of the problems I keep saying is, teams keep getting up against us to play at MSG. Our road record is actually very good this season. Our home record is decent, but you see how much it means to these guys. I mean, those guys were celebrating. It was kind of embarrassing on both fronts, but I mean, those guys were celebrating like they just won a playoff game. I mean, I know Detroit's come from the doldrums, but I mean, you had Malik Beasley dancing like you'd just basically won a game 7, man. Right now, we have to match that. We have to show that same level of intensity, that same level of dog and aggro and fight. We can't be letting these dudes come in and wipe their feet on our carpet. We have to protect the garden. We need an enforcer in this team. I think that's my solution, man. We need some grit. We need an enforcer, right? You could throw different names out there, but we need a guy that's gonna bark back. When these other guys try to punk us, because Brunson just keeps taking a beating, man, and he just keeps getting back up, and he just keeps playing on, man. You see OG showing a little bit of aggro towards Isaiah Stewart, but I mean, he ain't going to get nothing. But yeah, I think collectively, man, we have to play smarter. Is the coach limiting our ceiling with the defensive side? I think so at this stage. I think to continue to play cat drop coverage at the 5, I think you're not going to be able to get enough stops, man. We can't put up 140 every night against good defenses. We have to get stops ourselves. TJ Warren would be a pickup, Michael, but I think we need some defenders as well. I really think. Building Block says, remember our schedule gets harder too. We're not going to miraculously start beating good teams. Yeah, I think we need to just tread water in January, fam. I think As you guys probably know, you heard me. I said 9-6 for the month of January, man. I would have signed for that. Right now, it's looking like I would sign for 8-7, fam. Right, I would sign up for 8-7. You know, one game above 500 for this month. Obviously, we can do better, but you know, this team has to get on a run, man. Um, you know, these kind of losses, man. Detroit twice, Orlando. Um, right now, I'm seeing fatigue as well. That's the problem. Can this fatigue snowball as the season continues to go, man? These legs are going to get more heavier. They're not going to get more light. Um, Michael Drake says, CT, did you see it? Why Tibbs didn't see it? Something different. I think Tibbs has a tendency to get out coached as well, you know. You see Cade has the game of a kind of a Brunson where he can create, he can play make, he can score in isolation. But the factors limiting Jalen Brunson is the size, you know. It's a hell of a lot of work to do that at 6'1", 6'2", you know. Cade Cunningham can do the same things, but he's in a 6'7" body, you know. If you put Jalen Brunson in a 6'7" body, you know, you're going to see the same level of domination. But, you know, we have to play more smart, man. The ball movement tonight, as we look at the stats, we give out these grades, fam. We shout you guys out. That's what we do, man. We're Knicks diehards. And we have to shake things up a little. I think Leon Rose will be busy. You know, I've predicted it for a long time now. I think, you know, there's always a mid-season acquisition to be had because you always look at your team. See, you look at your team at the halfway point, right? And you look at your strengths, you look at your weaknesses, and you can't just turn a blind eye to your weaknesses, you know? You have a chance to address them at the trade deadline. And that's what Leon Rose loves to do. You know, he done it for 4 years running now. You know, tonight, man, turnovers killed us. 16 turnovers. Even if we had like 5 of those possessions back, we probably win the ball game. So this team is just sloppy as well. The read and react offense, limited sets that they run, you know, they freestyle, and it does breed a lot of turnovers. Yes, the ball movement is great at times, but you get these wings in the passing lane and you get guys committing cheap fouls, offensive fouls, you know. We just give the ball back as well. It just mitigates all the hard work you do, right? See, the frustrating thing for me is these guys really buckled down, got a few stops, and then Cat just commits an offensive foul, and then Brunson just throws the ball away, in the, you know, sloppy with the basketball as well, you know. But you got to credit Thompson. You got to credit Detroit's, you know, defense. They're playing at a higher level than they used to. Rebounding, the Knicks won, surprisingly, but 26 assists as well. But yeah, the turnovers just killed us, man. 40% from 3, but we gave up 44% as well. Fast break points, quite even. We lost the points in the paint, and we got killed on the second chance points, man. 9-18 on that one. That's just not going to get it done. Yeah, I think Tibbs will go before Leon does, 100%. Leon's built up a lot of cachet, you know. Paula says, please no Zion. That's all we need in New York, eating all the pizza. Chris Gotti says, I think they would change coaches before Leon, definitely. Building Block says, well, the hype on this team was good while it lasted. I think they just got to look in the mirror. You know, I'm not giving up. I don't implore anyone to give up on this season alone, you know. We can still make a hell of a run. You see, every team has their ebbs and flows, you know. Indiana made a run to the Eastern Conference Finals last season. They had their ups and downs as well, fam. But something got to change, you know. I can't see us making a deep run with the way things are right now, you know. You know, Landry Shamet, I think, you know, nights like tonight, man, 4 minutes, you don't get any points. The other night he played solid. Which one is it, you know? Just continues to be inconsistent. You know, Deuce was good defensively, but unfortunately he missed a wide open three. That was at a big point in the game. Precious gave us 0 points as well, missed a layup, a contested layup. That was a key possession as well, that the Knicks came up empty-handed on that one as well, fam. So, yeah, I think Leon Rose, no one's really untouchable coming off the bench. I think I wouldn't touch the starting five right now in terms of moving anyone, but I would, bring in Mitch if he's healthy, or I would try to get another center out here. But in terms of off the bench, I mean, I don't want to move Deuce. I definitely try to keep him out of anything, but anyone else, yeah, if you can try to get Walker Kessler, if you could try to get Nick Richards, I think that would really change the ceiling of this team, man. That would be a home run. That would be a chess move from Leon. Van Ventura says the communications on the Knicks is horrible. Yep, absolutely miscommunication late. Losing the shooters, helping off of the hot shooters to close out on the cold shooters. It's crazy right now. A lot of scramble. Lonnie Meek says Detroit hunted out Brunson and Cade. After Cade got 4 fouls, the Knicks should have hunted out Cade and Cat and Brunson. They did, fam. They did earlier in the game, but not late. Not late. Yeah, I would throw Huck Porty out there. I think that size would have been great for 15 minutes tonight. D. Grant says, that's my point with these minutes. Tibbs panics and keeps the starters out there when things are not going well. I think, yeah, the third quarter, I did call that out. He played Brunson the entire third, and I think that really, was a bad decision. I think we needed Deuce McBride out there a lot more. I think Deuce went cold, so with this one, man, he got a B+ yesterday, but I'm going to give Tibbs the first grade tonight. I'll give him a D, fam. A D for Tibbs tonight, and the pressure does mount a little. But yeah, we have to learn to rise above. We have to play at a harder level and challenge ourselves, man. We have a target on our backs, fam. We ain't coming in as the underdog Knicks anymore. Notice these teams want to knock us off. They celebrate when they play against us, fam. It's different to last year and the year before that. We were coming in as the underdogs, giving ourselves a puncher's chance, playing with an edge, all those kinds of things. Now these teams coming up, they're like that playing against us, and some of these people are putting a fraud label on the Knicks, and we have to shut that up. We have to want to, fight back, play defensively. But what's up, Sam, man? I think, Tibbs and, the lineups, I think that's going to cap our ceiling ultimately with the 5 right now, not going to lie. I think defensively you have to be able to get stops. You see, offense can win you some regular season games, but defense wins you championships, fam. Your defense has to be sound. You're not going anywhere winning a championship without good defense, right? You can have an all-star lineup of 5 guys that are just great shooters, but you're not going to get very far. AP says, to me, Miles McBride is not untouchable. He's missed a lot of games this year. Yeah, it's up to each person's preference, but yeah, I think Deuce is a keeper because of the contract that, he's got upside as well. But no doubt teams are going to be asking if we're going to get a game-changing piece, they're going to be asking about him, fam. But I'll be willing to hold off until the off season, me personally. A lot of teams won't want to move off of big pieces until the off season, but that shouldn't stop us from trying to make a good upgrade, Yeah, we might not be able to get a Walker Kessler because, Danny Ainge is going to know that we're desperate and he's going to, slap a tax on top of that. But I think we can get a Nick Richards, we can get maybe a Valanciunas or someone else to help us out at the 5 spot right now. Also, Bridges, it's a referendum every game, sometimes he's looking nice, the shot was falling tonight. and sometimes, defensively he's letting us down. Tonight it was better, but he's 28. He's going to be approaching the contract situation. I mean, that's a topic for a whole nother show, fam. We're going to talk about the future and Mikal Bridges. How much would you offer him on a contract, or would you trade him before offering him an extension? These are all serious questions because we're 41 games into a season now, and we have to make decisions eventually. One thing's for sure right now, I'm not paying him 25, 30 mil, based on what we're seeing. Could he become more consistent, change my mind? Maybe later in the season if we go on a deep run. But right now, I'm not committing more salary for Mikal Bridges on his next contract. Now, I know, like I said, it's a whole nother show. We gave up 5 first-round picks, but I would definitely try to look to flip him before giving him that big extension. Because right now, you're going to be locked in. That's the problem. If our championship ceiling is capped, we're going to be locked in to all these salaries. If we do pay him too much. Buzzer says this is on Tibbs, period. And Lonnie says the same. All good points. We need more from Tibbs. Look, every coach believes in their philosophy. They, for whatever experience they apply, they believe in it. They're going to keep doubling down. And ultimately, if Tibbs goes, he'll go on his own sword. He won't try to flip at the last minute, because that could get a coach fired even quicker. So yeah, I do think that Tibbs is going to continue to believe in what he's seeing. You look at the data as well. Offensively, the Knicks can blow teams out. And I think the problem is that's kind of clouding our success a little, guys, is the East this season. It's quite weak. I mean, Philly ain't even close to where people expected. The Heat, the Hawks, the Bulls, the Pacers, the Bucks, they're all underachieving. Now, that's to our benefit. Can you imagine if the Pacers and the Bucks and the Heat weren't underachieving, and putting more pressure on us? Then, our record would look more ugly. So right now we are dealing with kind of an inflated record right now. Not to say that we don't deserve our wins, but it is a little inflated. I think right now 26-15 on the season. That great work we did in December is really helping us, because we can afford a little slip up and still stay 10 games over 500. We're still on track for 50 wins. I'll be shocked if we don't get 50 wins. I still believe we're going to get that. But yeah, this schedule, man, it's becoming a lot more tough. A lot more tough, fam. Yep, Sandman wants us to move on from Tibbs as well. Charles says, I thought OG and Bridges were elite defenders. We're going to give up on Bridges after giving up 5 firsts. I think we're not going to, if we do give up, we're not going to give up too soon. We are going to give it a proper look. We're going to give it a good sample, and we're going to wait. But ultimately, yeah, if he's showing signs of not being consistent, I mean, you got to make hard decisions. Pat Riley, the Heat, the Warriors, all good organizations make tough decisions. Just because you made a mistake giving up 5 firsts doesn't mean you double down on the same mistake and giving that guy 30 million on his next contract. You pull the pin on the grenade and you throw it. You trade him for a couple of other pieces, and you try to rectify that. Yeah. That's just what I would do, fam. I'm just saying what I would do. I'm not saying the Knicks will do this. If I'm running an organization and I made a mistake, I'm willing to admit I made a mistake, and I'm not going to double down and make that mistake even worse. Like, for example, the New Orleans Pelicans, they might be having regrets over Zion, right? Rather than trade Zion, what would make that mistake confounded is if they were to give him, another 6-year extension. You just don't do that. If a player is underachieving, you don't reward them. You make plans. Appreciate a buzzer beater, guys. Smash that like button. We shout you guys out. We're spitballing right now. The Knicks, I think, will still get 50 wins. However, I'm a realist in terms of, I respect the competition, and I think teams will start making a run later in the season. I mentioned all those teams underachieving right now. We have a leg up on these teams, and we have to capitalize. And right now, if we're not beating Detroit at home, I mean, it's worrying signs. For me, it is worrying a little. Not to say that our guys are, they've got pride. They will bounce back. They've shown it. 11-3 after every loss. That shows that they can bounce back. But yeah, I just don't want us to lose these games. I know it came down to the last few possessions, but I just don't think we should be in that situation right now. I mean, we're supposed to be a lot closer to winning a championship than Detroit, fam. We're kind of having to shrug them off, which is dangerous because they're coming, right now. And they're in a good salary situation as well. They're not even paying the luxury tax right now with Detroit, We are going to be more limited. With Mikal Bridges, Charles, we haven't given Mikal Bridges his next extension, fam. We've given OG Anunoby his extension. But yeah, I was specifically talking about Mikal Bridges, fam. He's in line to get an extension coming up. So we wait to see what happens with Mikal right now. Obviously, I'm not going to judge completely off 41 games. We need to see how he plays out for the rest of the season. D Grant, Pistons are better than you think. Yeah, I mean, I think they're an up and coming team. I think they could probably nab the 6 seed, maybe the 7 seed. But yeah, Cade's really coming along. They got the size, they got the length. They signed a free agent, Tobias Harris. They signed Timmy Hardaway with the trade as well, fam. So yeah, I think the window in the NBA, man, it's so small and it's so quick. Sometimes you have to capitalize because we don't know when the next team is really going to come up. Right now, it looks like the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to start a dynasty, fam. I think they're headed for a dynasty with their contract situations, their draft picks, and all of that. So yeah, we might have to end this stream a little earlier tonight, unfortunately. Apologies, but we will be back to regular scheduling for the next show. Obviously, we got Wednesday, the Sixers, man. We head to Philly. Talk that they're going to be staying now in the same arena. Philly, a chance to further cement our dominance over them this season. That's going to be a huge game. Obviously, the Knicks are 11-3 after a loss, so I'm expecting them to bounce back. But sooner rather than later, man, these losses are going to catch up to us, fam. Buzzer, in terms of how many wins we get, I mean, we could still get the Vegas over, I think. But I do think we're going to be around the 50 to 55. 55 was my preseason prediction. But right now, I think it might be closer to 50. But, Leon Rose could pull a rabbit out the hat as well. Oh, yeah, Charles, appreciate you. You were talking about Zion. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they did give Zion that extension as well. So, yeah, I think they kind of might be regretting that. Yeah, Detroit, attracting free agent, it is going to be difficult for them. They do have to build from the ground up with these draft picks. Same with Oklahoma. I mean, I find the whole Oklahoma City Thunder fan kind of situation. I was been watching a few other platforms and hearing some Oklahoma fans running their mouth. I found it to be quite funny, to be honest, because they were beating their chest about getting Isaiah Hartenstein, as a big free agent. I'm like, do they even realize that, marquee free agents aren't choosing Oklahoma, man? They're just not. Shea Gilgeous was traded to them. All those other boys they drafted. And Isaiah Hartenstein went to them because they were the only team that could offer him that kind of bread right now. If the Knicks could match the same level of bread, Isaiah Hartenstein would have stayed. Right, so I mean, Oklahoma haven't done nothing yet. They're already talking like they won 5 championships It's crazy. But yeah, you guys are right. Those small market teams, free agents aren't going to really, you know, be running to sign there as well. I think the Knicks obviously are a more attractive destination, and we've built to a situation where we're at. We've got Cat, Brunson. You know, we might need to tinker with some pieces around these guys. Maybe when we win a championship, and I think we will. Still, I'm still optimistic. We're gonna compete for a chip and get one in the next 5 seasons. But when we do that, a player like Josh Hart might be coming off the bench at that point. As his legs get a little older, he turns 30, coming up in March. I think Josh Hart is a guy that might, he's best utilized maybe off the bench if we can strengthen. Maybe Dardier takes a big leap in his second season, third season. Maybe we pull off some trades. We can still do a lot of things because, yeah, I see AP. Some people are starting to doubt whether the Knicks can get it done. But I think what people need to realize is more assets will become available for the Knicks. I know we've gone kind of all in on this core right now, but with each passing year, you can trade more of our future draft picks. So the Knicks will still have more transaction cycles that they can add, to this core, right? OG Anunoby, he might be on this team if they win a chip. He might not. Same with Bridges. Hart might be coming off the bench. Like I said, there's things that we can do. With the Knicks, they weren't constructed to just compete for this season. I know you and we all wanted us to win a chip this season, and that is still the goal. But ultimately, being realistic is you can't just, click a switch and microwave this thing. It takes time. Boston had to lose in NBA Finals. People forget that. The Denver Nuggets had to lose a few times to get to the top. You have to suffer some of that defeat to make some changes and get to that next level, in my opinion. So, realistically, I think the Knicks would have had to pull a rabbit out the hat to win the championship this season. But every season has a mind of its own. Next year, the year after that, we just don't know, man. We just don't know. Like I said, regarding the show tonight, we'll wrap up in a minute. Unfortunately, I've got some things to attend to. Apologies, but a shorter stream tonight. But we will get it full time on the next one, right? But let me just bring up the standings right now. I'm going to refresh. The Knicks have a little breathing room between us and the Magic. But obviously, 3 games. But they're coming, man. The Pacers as well. The Pacers only 3 losses back of the New York Knicks. The Bucks, I think we'll see them maybe in the postseason, maybe in the first round at some point. The Heat might fall down after they trade maybe Jimmy Butler. The Pistons, I think, will continue to climb. What's interesting is the Hawks, man. I mean, this further highlights how bad matchups can be, because the Hawks they look like world beaters against us, but they just can't seem to get any momentum, man. They're 19-19, fam, and they are like 5.5 games back of us, man. They just can't get any momentum, fam. Trae Young, Risa Shea, Jalen Johnson, and the Chicago Bulls, who have beaten us as well. They just can't get any momentum as well. So it's all about matchups, fam. But let's keep chipping away. Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau. Let's see what adjustments they make, man. The pressure is going to start to mount on these guys, right? They're a veteran team that's built to win right now, and they can't sustain too many of these losses to inferior teams, that are trying to, on the come up right now. We need to show more grit and more size as well. Tibbs, right? No Huck Pority tonight. He did play him the last 2 games. Shamet with 4 minutes tonight. and not enough production, fam. No points. Cameron Payne gave us a spark tonight, but then yeah, poor shot selection, and Deuce McBride as well, trying to work his way back into rhythm as well. Missed that open three. Yeah, so that really, really hurts, unfortunately. But yeah, appreciate everyone tonight, man, and the buzz and your reaction to this loss. As the Knicks split this back to back, and obviously we have to get the next one, man. Philly in Philly on Wednesday night, and a chance to go back 12 games above 500. Let's see if there's an adjustment that Tibbs can make, right? Precious, Miles, Landry, Shamet, Payne. The bench has to pick it up. Too inconsistent right now. I think our starters are doing their best, but when they go to the bench, they don't. We don't get enough production, and then that gives Tibbs more reason to play those guys too much. As Buzzer says, I can't wait till the All-Star break. We need some time off. I can't wait for the trade deadline. I'm not going to lie, fam. I think Leon Rose will do something, and as each passing loss goes by, that move might be more bigger than people think. You got to keep up in this arms race right now. If I face the Magic in the playoffs, man, I want to get past them. The Pistons, the Bucks, the Pacers, I can't lose to them in the playoffs again, man. We might not win a championship this season, but we have to show steps. We have to, get better and get past the second round. Otherwise, people's jobs might not be safe right now. And with that note, fam, bless up to everyone. Big up. Have a great night. And I will see you soon, man. Wednesday night against Philly. Peace, everyone.